Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is you join us. This is the Tulsa World Scene podcast, and we hope you're hungry because we're going to. And if you're not, you'll probably be before the end of this is over. So, but we'll anyway. I'm here with my colleagues Jimmy Trammell and Grace Wood, and one of the things that we have discovered that whenever we talk about anything to do with food, people seem to respond with alacrity, and I understand. I mean, I have been eating all my life, so
it's like we all have to eat or something. I don't know what it is.
Exactly. So one of the things that was brought up is that there's always. Last week we talked about places that most people may not go to that they should, and so this time we're going to talk about places that you should have gone but now can't, because the restaurant business is volatile regardless of the economy, but there have been a lot of famous places that you think, how could that have fallen by the wayside, but they have. So Grace, we'll start with you. Your memory may not go back quite as far as ours, but I'm sure there are wonderful things that you recall.
Yeah. The first place that came to mind was the Celebrity Club. Did you guys ever go there?
Yes,
sure.
I used to love that place. They had the best fried chicken and biscuits, and their tableside Caesar salad was so good. And they just had the best service, and just one of those places where the people who worked there had been there forever. So you always saw the same people every time you came back. And I would always go there. Me and my older brothers would do like a sibling dinner there every year for the holidays. So I was so sad when they closed. I think they closed like maybe last year or the year before that, but yeah, definitely really miss that place. And then the other place that I thought of was Casa Bonita. Did you guys ever go there?
Oh, good heavens. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think they closed like 11 or 12 years ago, but it's just so nostalgic because I would always go there on like little dates with my dad when I was little. And it was just so fun to go inside there. It was just decorated and laid out in such a cool way, very like kind of authentically decorated. It was so fun. And then they had the great like sopapillas with honey and stuff like that. So that's one place I wish was still around just for the nostalgia factor. What about you guys?
I can't remember now if there was one in Colorado, and I think it now has closed. I'm not quite sure. But allow me to date myself even more. I remember when it opened.
Really?
Yes,
when did it open?
It had to be in the early 70s, because my family came here in 71. And we remember watching it being built and wondering, what in the world is this going to be? and the thing that I remember is on the front of it that had the word Casa and Bonita, and there was a little shield-like emblem between the two things. And when it opened, that shield had on it, all you can eat, $1.69.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the cost of, I believe they called it the deluxe dinner. And it just seemed, to a 12-year-old kid who didn't get out much, of quite the magical place. You tell somebody at the end of this aisle what you want, and you go down the way, and somebody slings the thing at you when it's done, and it's so yeah, it was quite the thing. And what a lot of people may not know is that Taco Bueno is an offshoot of Casa Bonita. If I remember correctly, they were linked at one point. And
You
I
can see some
remember
design similarity for sure.
there is definitely that. And I remember I remember when that first opened. And every item that they had, there were only like about 7, was 29 cents. So, and the first one was at 21st and Sheridan. It's now closed. But that was the very first Taco Bueno in Tulsa. So
Okay, both of you guys all of us have experience there at Casa Bonita. Memory is funny. Was it good, or our memory is saying it's better than it was because there is some magic to raising a flag at a table and they bring you more? Was it good, or the memory is better than it was?
I think it was probably okay. And I think just the ambiance and that experience of raising the flag and everything definitely added to the experience.
they used to have they used to run ads for the place with Ricardo Montalban from Fantasy Island and Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, and there would be this guy in a chef's outfit, holding the plate, and everything was pristine and speaking Spanish. The plate is heated to 600 degrees. Si, senor, he would respond.
Well,
And I remember watching these, and then you go to see it, and it's it in retrospect and in all honesty, no, it was not good. It was fine, but it was more the experience, I think, that made it.
It was fun just to pick the room you were going to eat in.
Exactly. Now another sister place that is also gone, unfortunately, was Crystal's Pizza. Now that was good, and not just simply because you could make and accessorize your own ice cream sundae. I mean, the pizza itself was, I remember it being quite good. So
they put so many pepperonis on the pizza, you couldn't see the pizza. All you saw was pepperoni. Grace, it may have closed before your time, but it was just in the same shopping center as Casa Bonita. It was a magic area, in that you had Casa Bonita, Crystals, Starbase 21 comic store, and a wig shop all in the same place.
Wow. A one-stop shop.
pretty much for a wild night in Tulsa in the mid-70s, yeah, that would probably suffice. So anyway, the sad thing is that area is my neighborhood then and now. So anyway, well, Jimmy, how about you? What restaurants that were a part of Tulsa that are not that you love that are not a part of Tulsa anymore?
Well, it's funny. I had Crystals and Casa Bonita on my list. We've already covered those. My favorite restaurant of all time that I miss, it's not here anymore, is not Outback, the chain. It's Charlie Mitchell's Outback Sports Cafe. It was just off the highway. And the gimmick was every table had its own television. You could watch whatever you wanted while you ate. Big boxing ring in the middle of the dining room. There was a basketball hoop shoot. There was a sand volleyball court. The food was good. I hate nachos where you order the nachos and it's 6 chips in a circle with some cheese on it. Like, no, give me the big pile of chips. And they were good about giving you the big pile of nachos. I truly miss Charlie Mitchell's Outback Sports Cafe. And then the only other one I might mention is probably more nostalgia than anything. When I was young, a big deal was to go to Heritage House, the buffet memorial,
Right.
Heritage House for Smorgasbord. And I'm sure it was like every other buffet in the universe, but in my mind as a kid, it was big time stuff.
Yeah, that is now it was on Memorial between 41st and 31st. It's now, I believe, a Honda motorcycle or Harley Davidson. I'm sorry,
Harley Davidson, yeah.
Motorcycle thing. Yeah, that was. I remember going there a lot. I have too many to mention, but the one that always comes to mind first is a place called Diamond Jack's, um, sandwich shop. Um, Started out in the Country Club Plaza at 51st and Harvard, and had a number of locations around there before it moved out to 71st, the 71st and Yale area in what is now the McNelly's down south. That was their last location. It started out as basically a neighborhood bar, um, and somebody asked for a Reuben sandwich, and no one knew how to make it, so they learned and made their own version of it, and everything took off from there. I used to work in a retail shop around the corner from the original restaurant, was introduced to it on my first day at work, and for the 19 or so months that I worked at that store, I ate there every day. They had their, it was marvelous. It closed it's been 10 years. It closed in 2012. The owners at the time, Larry and Nancy Zankel. Larry passed away rather suddenly, and Nancy kept going for about a year and then decided she was just going to close it down. So that's been gone a while. And the other one that I miss, and this is maybe as much nostalgia as anything else, is Pennington's Drive-In. That used to be the hot spot on Peoria, about 36th, I think. And it was the epitome of the drive-in restaurant. You could get everything from fried chicken dinners and shrimp dinners to their signature whiz burger. Gotta have the whiz burger. But yeah, and but when you there's so much out there. And the one that I really miss, because it's to the point where I'm almost thinking that it never did exist, that I just imagined it, because I've never come across anybody who has remembered this. It was at 15th and Memorial, and it was a little shop called Tasty Chick, and they did fried chicken. Came out this deep mahogany brown. I mean, it was the darkest fried chicken. You thought it was burned, but it was marvelous. And it was also the first place I encountered potato wedges in the chicken batter, deep fried. They called them okie taters. Turns out this was founded by a guy who sold a device to Kentucky Fried Chicken to help them batter chicken faster. And he made millions from that and tried to start his own chicken restaurant. I think this was the only outlet it ever had. It was fantastic. Wow. And it after we moved here, I think within 3 or 4 years, it shut down. So, and it just so happens that when we thought about this, I remembered that there is a book. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. Oh. Lost Restaurants in Tulsa by Reese Martin. And he goes back years and years and years. Just about every restaurant, although he doesn't include Tasty Chick. I've talked to him about that. But he mentions Charlie Mitchell's. He mentions Pennington's. He mentions Casa Bonita and Crystals and the Pagoda, and I mean all sorts of stuff. So something to check out at a number of local establishments. I believe Decapolis carries it, and there's some other places you can find it. It's entertaining and quite an enjoyably nostalgic read. So
no love for Burger Chef and Jeff. I mean, poor Burger Chef. I mean, nobody's shedding a tear for Burger Chef.
I preferred that to McDonald's. I mean, they were of the fast food burgers, I preferred them to McDonald's. But naturally, apparently if I like something, it'll shudder. So, but anyway, so let's talk about what people might find in upcoming issues of the Tulsa World this weekend. Grace, what have you got What have you got lined up for this week?
Yeah, so for this weekend, I have a story about a local couple named Nick and Olivia Stoffel. They are self-taught DIY home improvement experts, and they really document every step of their home improvement process and share it on social media so that people can kind of learn how to do it themselves. And they just kind of inspire people in that way. And they've gained a huge following on TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, they're doing really cool stuff. So I interviewed them about just their life together and how they learned how to do everything. And that'll come out this Saturday. So
I always admire couples that are able to do such things together, because in the few times that my late wife and I tried to do it ourselves, I realized that the marriage vows should actually include, in sickness and in health, in love and home improvement. But anyway, so good for them. Let's hope that all goes well. Jimmy, what have you got for us?
Tickets go on sale Friday for one of the bigger concert events of next year, and that's Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Alice Cooper at TU's football stadium, Chapman Stadium. And it's unique enough, the first concert there in 33 years since New Kids on the Block in 1990, first major concert event, I should say, that I thought, let's get in. How did this happen? Who's the hero here? And turns out a former Tulsan, someone who lived here, played a big role in making this happen. So Friday we'll get into that backstory of how this concert came about. And then, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I must be going to. This is at the football stadium, or
football stadium outdoors.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I know you were one of those 42,000 at the New Kids on the Block concert in 1990.
Sure. Just curious for this tour coming up. Is it officially the Lock Up Your Grandmother's tour, or anyway?
What's funny, those new kids who played in 1990 now are old enough to be grandparents. So
that's true.
That's
true.
Start doing the math on that deal.
We probably better draw a veil about over that, gentle readers. So anything else coming up from you?
Sunday, if you're familiar with Voices of Oklahoma, the great oral history project helmed by John Erling, then we've got something that's going to interest you about a new book project linked to Voices of Oklahoma in Sunday's newspaper.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a very bookish Sunday, because I interviewed the author of this book called Miles to Go. Name is Brennan Matthews. He and his family moved from their native Kenya to Canada, and one of the first things they decided to do to sort of they'd all been fascinated by American culture, but Toronto, or I think it's Toronto, where the job was. They decided before really settling down, they were going to take a tour down Route 66, and it's going to be like a 3-month odyssey, going and stopping everywhere. And this is a chronicle of that journey. And it's interesting because they had heard of Route 66, but knew really nothing about it. They knew a very small portion of the United States itself, and so it becomes kind of a voyage of their own discovery of the country. And as a result of that first trip, they founded what is now a international magazine on Route 66 that's now in, I believe, its 6th year. So we'll be talking with him about that and that experience this Sunday in the Tulsa World, available at fine newsstands everywhere and online at tulsaworld.com. Well, if you put up with us for this long, we thank you for being with us, and we will talk with you again at a later date. Be well and be safe.
Thank you.
bye.